Hi, I'm Dr. Jessica McLeese, licensed clinical psychologist and certified sex therapist. I recently had a reader send in a question through my website, so I'm going to take just under 5 minutes here to respond to the question. Here's the situation and the question that was asked. My husband and I haven't had sex in 2 years. I had a hysterectomy 2 years ago, and having sex is extremely painful no matter how much lubricant we use. I have no arousal hormones. Due to a history of cancer, I can't take hormonal medications. My husband has been more than patient, but I know I'm doing wrong by not being intimate with him. Add to that the fact that he used to reject me often in favor of TV. In the early days of our marriage, I would stand naked in front of the TV and be ignored. We've talked extensively about this, and he now understands that I need more attention. I admit being stubbornly bitter about this, and I'm trying my best to be repentant about being angry. We're working on this part of our relationship, and I really do want to make love to my husband, but I can't help but remember how painful sex is. I already understand about the thinning of the vaginal walls, and so I know that that causes pain. What do you suggest? First of all, I just want to say that I'm really sorry to hear you're going through this. I can hear a lot of pain in your question. So feeling like you're low on your husband's priority list, having to go through a hysterectomy and all the physical and emotional pain that that causes, and the pain of wanting to have sex but not being able to because of the actual physical pain involved. This really is a tough situation. So know that the wrong of withholding sex from your spouse is far different from actual sexual pain that keeps you from having sex. It isn't wrong to need to look at changing the ways you show intimacy to one another. As our bodies age, or when medical complications cause our bodies not to operate the way that they should, certain positions or types of sex, like vaginal penetration for instance, can become painful. And when this happens as a couple, you have to determine what sex is going to look like for you moving forward. Often couples, they really believe that if they can't have vaginal intercourse, then they're not able to enjoy any type of intimacy. But I would encourage you to use this change in your body to expand your sexual repertoire. So you guys have a lot of square footage to enjoy. And many couples find that sensual massage or using their hands, lips, and tongues can provide some really great satisfaction for one another, especially when vaginal intercourse is just no longer an option. Now, my reader also mentioned a lack of arousal hormones. In general, women have a much harder time with this than their male counterparts, and here are a couple of reasons why. So first, society often teaches us that men not only want sex all the time, but that they're free to pursue sex. Men are expected to kind of go for it in their dating years, while women are expected to slap their hands away if they get too frisky. And in Christian circles, men are taught to avoid sexual temptation, while women are often taught that they must be careful what they wear and how they sit so they don't become a temptation to their brothers in Christ. And while this is supposed to be helpful for both genders, it continues to teach that men want sex and women tempt men to have sex. And this can leave women with the mindset that sex is for the man, which can eventually turn into a shutdown of desire. And it's hard to turn this off later, or hard to turn the shut off later in marriage, and remember that you're supposed to enjoy sex also. The other reason that women are sometimes less attuned to their own arousal is simply because men and women really differ in the type of sexual drive or desire that they have, or at least the way their sexual desire is expressed. Some men are more likely to pursue sex, and they're typically easily aroused by parts of the woman, like the boobs or the butt. And women, on the other hand, have more of this holistic picture of their man. So instead of noticing a part of the man, they tend to enjoy the whole package idea of who their man is. They think about his looks and his personality and sweet things he's done for them, and that slowly brings about these feelings of interest. And certainly not feeling like a priority can make your man seem far less attractive. Not only that, but women also typically have more of a receptive desire. So they enjoy being pursued more than being the pursuer. And this can make it look like they don't have any arousal, when the reality is that they just need to be pursued some to notice that the arousal exists. So here are my 3 big tips for enjoying intimacy with your spouse when sexual pain has become an issue. Number 1, expand your sexual repertoire. Don't consider vaginal intercourse as the only way to foster intimacy. If you're in pain, you're not going to enjoy vaginal sex, and it certainly won't be bonding. So instead, consider oral sex or manual stimulation as a way to intimately connect. Number 2, have your spouse watch this video. Remind him that you want to have an intimate connection with him and that you want to emotionally connect. These two are not separated, so keep practicing that forgiveness piece that you mentioned and aim for an increase of both physical and emotional intimacy. And number 3, remember that the two of you are going to be different in the way you express sexual desire and arousal. It's pretty normal for women to not feel aroused without actually being pursued. So talk to your hubby about how you most like to be pursued, so maybe he can put some of that into action. If you have a question that you'd like to submit, you can do that on my website at befullywell.com, where you'll find an anonymous question box on the sidebar of every page. Until next time, God bless, and may you always be fully well.